There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
Hello everyone, I'm Jared and welcome to Bite Size Films. Halloween 3 is the only film in this franchise that has nothing to do with Michael Myers. Instead, it completely features catchy jingles, Halloween masks, and self-aware references to the fact that it is not a Michael Myers Halloween movie. Once you watch this video, you will notice in your rewatches of some of the later sequels all of the little nods and jokes to the masks in these movies, especially in the trailer and Halloween Kills. While Halloween 3 is not the best, it is by far a very well done 80s horror movie that is not bad, but was critically hated at the time because it wasn't another Michael Myers movie. And with that, let's get biting. The movie starts with one of my favorite openings in any Halloween movie. This awesome digital pumpkin with this amazing score sets the very 80s horror movie tone of this movie. I think that is one of the reasons I find such charm in this movie. It's quite cheesy at parts, but it's fun nonetheless. We see the pumpkin in its full before it begins to flash, transitioning us to our first shot of the movie. It's Saturday, October 23rd. There is a man running down the middle of the road at a full sprint. A car is chasing after him, driving somewhat slow. He tries to hide from the people inside the car, but can't get away fast enough before the people stop and see him. They drive away as he tries to escape, but the people in the car pull into the junkyard. He tries to run away and runs straight into a man. The man runs straight into an El Camino.
Jesse Pinkman. Jesse Pinkman?
The man starts to choke our protagonist before he pulls out a chain that's attached to a tire stopper, which, by the way, this seems super unsafe. This guy can pull it out in what appears to no effort at all. The man he ran into gets crushed between both cars. Our hero slides out from under the car and takes a pumpkin mask with him. He runs into the junkyard as we cut to a lightning and thunderstorm an hour later. We get our first Silver Shamrock commercial at a gas station. Get used to hearing this tune. It is overplayed in this movie. Get it stuck in your head, like it is in my head all the time. A lightning bolt strikes out the electricity and a worker looks around for what was making some suspicious noises before the man from the beginning grabs him from behind and falls. He tells them that
You're coming.
Before he dies, clenching his pumpkin mask. We meet our main character as he comes home from his job. He brings home some masks, but he's informed that his wife has already gotten their kid masks. Silver Shamrock masks, might I add. His beeper beeps and he calls the hospital and they inform him that he needs to go back to the hospital. The man from the beginning of the movie is now in the hospital. He is still freaking out that they're going to kill us. We cut to the man in a hospital room. We get some shots incredibly similar to Halloween 2 before we see a man dressed in a suit begins to walk down a hallway, and he walks into the room the man is in and basically gouges his eyes out and breaks his nose, killing him. The man wipes his gloves off with the curtain before being caught by a nurse. The nurse screams and our main character, Dr. Daniel Chalice, begins to investigate. He goes outside after the man and the man has gotten into his car. The man douses himself in gasoline and their car explodes. We cut to Sunday the 24th and the daughter of the man from the beginning comes to ID the body. She leaves and Dr. Dan is about to leave but sees the daughter crying at the end of the hallway, but he continues on. It's now Wednesday the 27th. Dan gets the coroner's assistant to give him information before we cut to the bar. This is where we get our "this isn't a Halloween movie like you thought it would be," as we see a Halloween trailer on the TV screen. The daughter of the man, Ellie, walks into the bar as well, thanking Dan about his appearance at her father's funeral. Dan is suspicious because he was holding onto the Halloween mask and was saying that they were going to kill him. Then he was dead. We cut to the store her father owned. She begins to look through her father's calendar. She begins to think that the place where the masks are is where her father began to be in trouble. We see them leave for the place and we get to see even more advertisements for these freaking Silver Shamrock masks. They arrive in the town, everyone in the town begins to look at them strangely, and we see a security camera that moves to follow them. They make it to the factory and make a plan to rent a motel room. Ellie stays and keeps the motel owner distracted while Dan goes inside and finds where her dad stayed at this motel. A RV almost hits Dan and we meet some super interesting characters. They're pretty much just people that stay here. They aren't super important to the story, but they were weird enough to mention. Another woman shows up and rents a room at the hotel. Okay, yeah, they kiss, and it makes me feel super strange. I don't really know why, this just feels wrong to me. The town has a curfew at 6 p.m. every day that we learn as they announce its beginning. They learn that some bad stuff is happening in the factory by a homeless man in an alley. That homeless man gets killed by two of the people in the suits. They basically remove his head with their own bare hands. Ellie meets one of the people who earlier on had rented out a motel. She tells him that you can order them in person and that the logo pieces just come right off the mask. She goes inside her room still holding the logo piece. It falls to the floor as she gets into bed. She's about to turn off the light before she sees that the back of the logo has a piece of motherboard in it. She starts to prod around before getting zapped. Her face basically opens up and a tarantula/cricket thing comes out of her mouth. This kill is just absolutely gnarly and I really don't know if I can even show it all. An ambulance comes and takes her away. Mr. Cochran shows up and tells us that everything will be okay and there's nothing to worry about. Our characters find out that there was a misfire of something, but they're not sure what. It's now Saturday the 30th. Our characters go to the place where they fill orders. They get some information on Ellie's father, but they wind up getting a tour around the manufacturing place. Dan finds some creepy soup people and then they leave. Ellie tries to go to her father's car that is on the property but gets stopped by some of the men. They get back to the motel and Dan goes to the front desk area and tries to call someone but gets interrupted by the Shamrock ad while he's on the phone. He can't get through to anyone before he eventually decides to call it quits and goes back to Ellie. But Ellie is missing. And there are 5 suitmen in the motel parking lot. They attack Dan, but he escapes out the bathroom window. He runs down the road and has to dodge from cars a few times before we see that Ellie was captured by the soup people. Dr. Dan hides from them for a bit before he tries to enter the facility. He makes his way inside and eventually finds the offices, one of which holds this woman who is creepily knitting in the corner. This woman is a freaking robot, and her head comes off. Dan gets caught by one of the suit robot men and he punches straight through his stomach, revealing wires. 2 more men show up and capture him. They take him deeper into the facility, but we get a title card revealing it is now Halloween. They take Dan down an elevator and we see a big lab with a Stonehenge stone in the middle. I find this incredibly funny because earlier on there was a little news clip about the Stonehenge was going missing, but they literally don't draw attention to it at all. Okay, bad guy, why are you looking at this tiny rock when you were missing the huge rock right next to you? The family from earlier is being taken to a secret room where there's a TV and curtains as well as things that make it look slightly homey. This is where we figure out that the commercial is triggering the motherboard that killed the woman earlier. It starts to basically melt the poor kid's head, and what looks like hundreds of crickets and snakes pile out of his head. The snake bites the mother and the father, killing them both. These shots of all the kids wearing the masks are my absolute favorites of this entire movie. The coroner from the beginning of the movie gets basically drilled through the side of the head. It's mostly done off screen though. Dan is being held in a room where we get some unnecessary "why I'm killing these kids" by Cochran. He puts a mask on Dr. Dan and he puts on the original Halloween for him, which is where the commercial airs during/after, and it's like a whole special or something. He destroys the TV that was in his room so he couldn't see/hear the commercial. He then cuts through his restraints and escapes the room by crawling through the air ducts. Some of the suitmen realize that he is gone and he gets to the rooftop and basically runs back inside the building, which I've always found funny. He finds Ellie inside and releases her, but the bad guys find out where he is. They sneak around inside the lab/random big rock room before Dan finds the logos in some of the boxes. He turns on the advertisement and grabs a huge box of logos and runs up to the top of the room. He dumps the logo all over the room, causing electricity or something to happen. I'm guessing like electrocution or something similar. I'm really confused by what exactly these things do. I do like the shots of the ad playing and the body's dead in the corner. Stonehenge starts glowing and the circle starts to spin with electricity, and Dan and Ellie run out of the room. The electricity connects to Stonehenge in the circle and blows Cochran up in a hilariously weird looking practical effect. They run away from the facility and get in their car and drive off. Ellie's acting kind of weird, but oh no, she's trying to kill Dan. She grabs him and they crash the car. She comes out of nowhere and Dan hits her with a crowbar, removing her arm. Oh my, she's a robot. She backs her head off and goes back towards the car. The arm that was still in the car starts trying to choke him, but he gets off and chucks it into the woods. Then the headless body tries to grab him but fails. He runs towards the gas station from the beginning of the movie. He needs to get to the phone because it's life or death. He starts to plead with one broadcasting company to get it taken off the air, and eventually they remove it. But there's another channel and it gets shut off, and there's another one that still gets aired. He yells, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
And the movie ends. And with that, a bite has been taken out of Halloween 3. Halloween 3 is a very fun movie if you take it at face value. While I wouldn't say it's a great movie, it's absolutely not a terrible one. It's incredibly cheesy at parts, which I guess you could say adds to the charm at a degree. Well yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching and liking. Subscribe if you'd like, and if you want to hear me talk about this movie more in depth and other movies along the same vein, you can listen to my podcast either here, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and like always, remember, treat every day like it's Halloween.